works with elasticity, and because of Hooke's law, it or based on elasticity, there are actually three types of modulus, or we call this three types of um, situations or changes that occur in an object based on elasticity. Okay, so yesterday I also did a demonstration on lettuce and how lettuce or other stuff is being cut up, cut or separated or divided. So for example, this one, it is possible to divide the lettuce into parts, because when you try to tear it or even use a knife, the process makes one part go opposite direction and the other towards another opposite direction. So the science behind it is that you allow one surface to slide with respect of the other. So that's the thing about slicing. Okay, even in bread, for example, I think you can imagine yourself cutting bread right now with a knife, and you can see that as you slide the knife, one part of the bread actually goes up and the other goes down. So that is an example of the elasticity, okay, and in terms of the object's elasticity. Now, as mentioned a while ago, because of elasticity, there are three changes that can occur in an object, and these are the following. Okay, the first one is called the Young's modulus. The second is the shear modulus, and the next is the bulk modulus. Okay, now these modulus are the type of elastic modulus, meaning these are the changes that the type of modulus based on the changes that can occur in an object. So, for example, Young's modulus deals with any object that changes its length after a stress is applied. Okay, for example, is this elastic band. Okay, this is a headband. Okay, so when you stretch this one, okay, of course, this modulus or this band changes its length. All right. However, this band is elastic. Why? Because if I release it, it goes back to its original shape and size, okay, and length, okay. But this is still covered by Young's modulus. Another example of this is, for example, um, straightening of bones, or metals, straightening of metals, especially in terms of kanang building. Okay, if you want to be an engineer, especially mga civil engineer or any engineer that involves constructing something, Young's modulus is one of the things that you need to consider about the metals. Each metal has a different um, each type of metal has a different Young's modulus. Now, if the metal exceeds its Young's modulus, that metal will break. And as a consequence, that can make your building collapse. Okay? That is Young's modulus. The next modulus is the shear modulus, which basically covers any shape changes. Example, when you're slicing or when you're cutting, okay, that is covered by shear modulus. Another is, let's say, clay molding. Okay, so that is shear modulus. So each object that can change shape has its limited shear modulus. So for example, if a shear modulus of a clay is this amount or this pressure, okay, that clay can only be pressurized under that number. If you go beyond, okay, probably the clay will get hardened or the clay will become too soft to mold. Okay, so that is shear modulus. The last one is the volume change or the bulk modulus. Example of that is, let's say, this one. This is a surgical glove. And this glove, when I blow air in it, so obviously it will inflate. Now, if I continue to blow air inside this glove, okay, if I continue to blow air inside this glove, the glove will exceed its bulk modulus, and eventually the glove will um, uh, explode, explode, will pop. Okay, and same with balloons, diba? So that these are the modulus. So the modulus will determine the elastic limit of the object, or how much change can it undergo. Okay, so today I will be introducing each of these elastic modulus. They have their own formulas. Okay, now I really like to introduce the formulas to this one, and also do a word problem for the modulus, because I understand that some of you might be interested to be an engineer or an architect. These are the things that you need to consider. Okay, so I might as well introduce this to you early on, so that when you start working towards the field that you want to go in to be an expert, then you already know what it would be like. All right. So in equation, stress can be considered as the pressure, because if you look at the formula, force over area. But remember, pressure is force over area. So that is stress. Now, strain, remember, the strain is the response of the object towards a certain stress. So strain is delta dimension. Delta means change. So change in dimension over the original dimension. So that is the strain. So we can further classify that, or divide that into this uh, equation. Okay, so strain is delta L over original L. Okay, so the dimension is what do you call this? The dimension is can be represented by length, or it can also be represented by volume. And yeah, so that's for the dimension. So for in the purpose of this presentation, I use L to represent length for the dimension. Okay, but that can be replaced by volume depending on what modulus you're trying to compute. Okay, and then to get that, or to relate the strain and the stress, then it becomes K equals the stress over strain. Okay, that is the general formula, or this is the general formula for Hooke's law. Remember that Hooke's law says that who can recall the statement of Hooke's law? What does it say? The amount of strain of an object is relative to the applied stress, and it should be within the elastic limit. Okay, so that is Hooke's law. So if you put Hooke's law in a numerical form, this is what you get. K is equal to stress over strain. Okay, and using stress over strain, we will be looking into the derivation of the different modulus. Okay, so Hooke's law, numerical form, K is equal to stress over strain. Okay, now from this main formula, we can derive the different moduli. Okay, so let's start with the derivation of the Young's modulus. Okay, so remember that the root is stress over strain. Okay, now we have here y which represents Young's modulus. Okay, and we have here F over A. Where did I get F over A? This is basically the formula for stress. This one, right? And now the strain, if you recall the first, slide before this, you will see that I use L to represent the dimension because Young's modulus, if you remember, is all about the change in length. So we have here delta L or the change in L or length over the original length. Okay, and that is the formula for strain. But now, to formally or to simplify the formula, this is now what we get. So how did we get this part? So remember that when you are dividing a fraction with another fraction, you will need to multiply that with its reciprocal. Okay, L sub O all over delta AL. Okay, so what you get, data AL, sorry, data L. So what you get is flow al. Okay, so this is how I actually remember this. Flow al. Okay, so F times L sub O, you get this part. A times delta L, you get this part. Okay, so that is how we get the formula for Young's modulus using the original formula of Hooke's law. Okay, any questions before I proceed to the derivation of the other moduli? Okay, let's move on. We have the derivation of shear modulus. So again, we will have the main, what do you call this? Main formula for Hooke's law. We have K is equal to stress over strain. And because it is shear modulus, I will be representing, or the shear modulus is represented by letter S. So same thing, stress. So this is stress here. And then we have the strain. Now, if you notice, diba, the strain, if you recall the previous slide, we have delta D or the delta dimension all over original dimension. Okay, but for shear modulus, it's different. Instead of having the original dimension, okay, you will be representing it by the length. So I will show this to you later um, in an image. Okay, so allow me lang to explain the derivation of the formula of shear modulus. Now, for the shear modulus, the strain is identified by the formula delta x. X here represents, or delta x here represents the change in shape corresponding or in reference to the original length of the object. Okay, so that is the strain. Now we still do the reciprocal, and what we get is flux. Okay, so F over L, F times L all over A delta X. So the mnemonic is flux. So a while ago we have floal, or you can have it as a floral to make it much more, you know, beautiful to hear. And then for the shear modulus, we have flux. So in this image here, you can see what I was trying to say a while ago. So here we have the original length of the object. So look at the black line, okay? The black line is the original length of the object, all right? Now, because of the stress that you apply the object, on the object, it is able to change the shape of the object. So there's a decline, there's a movement to the right because of the force. Now, because of this, okay, you can see now in reference to the length, we have the change in shape. Again, in reference to the length, which is the original black line, we have, or we can see, the change in shape. So we see now that the line is already slanted, making this object a little bit uh, like a semi-parallelogram or a slanted rectangle. Okay, so that this is shear modulus. So in reference to the length, we have, or we identify, the change in shape. Thus this formula. All right, and then when you do the reciprocal and all that, you will get the final formula, which is flux. Okay, questions, clarification before I move on to the last moduli.
Are we actually going to be doing problem solving for these?
Yes, you are.
Oh my.
Wait, Miss, the last one was bulk modulus, right? Or was it? Because if this one is
Young's,
shear modulus. Oh, the other one is Young's. Okay.
modulus.
Yeah.
So this one is shear modulus. Now the last modulus is the bulk modulus. So again, using the um, main formula for Hooke's law, we will be deriving the formula for bulk modulus. Okay, now for bulk modulus, this one is a different case because instead of using the word stress, we will be um, interplace or replacing that with the word pressure. However, if you notice, stress is just equal to pressure. Okay, so don't get confused with that one. So instead of computing pa for the force and the area, automatically when you deal with bulk modulus, you will be given the pressure. You're not anymore given the force and the area. Okay, so that is one thing that's unique about bulk modulus. Okay, to see that, diba, we have here the pressure, right? All right, and then we have the strain. So remember the strain in the previous slide, we have the delta dimension all over original dimension, right? Now, because we're dealing with bulk modulus and bulk deals with the change in volume, we represent the dimension into V, which is volume. So strain now is change in volume all over the original volume. Okay, and then you do the um, cross multiplication or sorry, reciprocal, and this is what you will get, PVOV. Okay, and this is now the formula for bulk modulus. Now, don't get confused with this one. When you do the word problems for the modulus, you don't need to solve it from the derivation. So basically, you just have to focus on the final formulas. So for this one, the formula for bulk modulus is B is equal to pressure multiplied by original volume all over the change in volume. For the second one, the we have for shear modulus, we have S is equal to flux, which is force times length all over area multiplied by the change in shape. And then we have for Young's modulus, the final formula is this one. Okay, floal. So this is force multiplied by the original length all over area multiplied by the change in L. Okay, so these are the formulas for the shear modulus. Okay, so that ends my discussion on the principles involving solids and fluids. So there are 4 principles that are involved, and We have here the Pascal's principle. We have Bernoulli's principle. We have Archimedes' principle. And lastly, we have Hooke's law. Now, as part of the discussion today,